Welcome to the lesson on setting up the General Ledger chart of accounts. I am in the General Ledger Center screen, which I accessed from the Cobra main menu. The General Ledger program does come with a pre-built chart of accounts, but you may decide that you want to customize it for your own business purposes. So we're going to click on the Accounts button on the toolbar, where we can add accounts, we can delete accounts, we can edit existing accounts. But before we do anything, let's take a look at this chart of accounts. You can see that it's already organized by category and by division, which are also pre-built in the General Ledger. So by having an organized chart of accounts already existing in your General Ledger, it helps those of you who've never done this before to understand the types of accounts that we're talking about and where you might be adding accounts in the General Ledger. So the first thing I would recommend doing is printing out the existing chart of accounts by clicking the Print button. Then what you can do is kind of compare side by side with your existing chart of accounts, so you know what account numbers you might need to change, the descriptions you might want to change, and account numbers you might want to add into this chart of accounts. I recommend starting by editing the existing accounts as you see them here. So let's talk about editing accounts first. Obviously, every chart of accounts has a cash account. So when we start at the top and we work our way down, we can kind of tick off between the two printed out charts of accounts where we are in the process of customizing, and this will go relatively quickly then. So to edit an existing account, you can simply double click on it from the accounts list, and we work in the entry fields down below to change the account number. We can change the description if we need to reflect the name of your bank. So you can type over the description, and as you keep entering here, if you're changing an existing account that's similar, like a cash account, everybody's got a cash account, you shouldn't need to change the category of it. So as you just press enter through these, it'll eventually just resave the account with the changes and redisplay it on your screen here. Now let's talk about account numbers for a moment. You can see that we carry a 7-digit account number, but it's really an account number and a department number for those of you who like the idea of departmentalizing your chart of accounts. So the first 4 digits of an account number are the actual main account, and then the last 3 digits represent a department. Now let me give you a visual indication of what I'm trying to say here. Many customers like to break out their sales into more than one account. So as you see here, I've got a generic sales account, but then I could also have my sales broken out into different revenue centers, if you will, cost codes, things of that nature. So the last 3 digits represent those individual departments. And you can not only departmentalize your sales, as I've done here, by using the first 4 digits being the same for all sales accounts and just using the last 3 to represent departments. You could do the same thing with cost of goods sold accounts as well. That way, payroll, accounts payable can also break out your cost of your sales into your different departments as well. So to get back to our lesson here, what I would recommend is just going down the chart of accounts here and just changing these accounts to represent what yours are, and they must be full 7 digits. So if yours are not 7 digits, just keep the 4 and 3 concept in mind, where the first 4 digits are the actual account number and then the last 3 are departments. Although departmentalizing normally happens with sales and cost of goods sold accounts, every account in the general ledger must have 7 digits. So if you forget to put on the last zeros on the account number, Cobra will do it for you automatically when it resaves the account number. And I'm just pressing enter. So that's what I would do first. For inventory, if you have a different account than what we have, you can double click on it, change the account number down here to what yours is, and then just press enter to resave it. So pretty soon you can get through your chart of accounts pretty quickly, and again ticking them off, comparing our chart of accounts to yours so that you know where you are in the process of editing your chart of accounts. Now keep in mind that you can also delete accounts in here. So if there's an account that you don't use, for example this one, you can double click on it, and as long as there's no activity related to that account, you can delete it at any time. But it's always wise to do this setup process once, and then you shouldn't have to delete accounts later on. But if you do have to delete account, just simply double click on it so it is displayed below here, and then click your delete button to actually get rid of it. And now it no longer exists in your chart of accounts. A key though is that whenever you see a type in any of these records, that means that that account cannot be deleted, because what Cobra is trying to do is keep track of the minimum number of accounts that are needed to run a general ledger. And the accounts payable program, for example, needs to know what the accounts payable account is, so when you run accounts payable, it knows to put everything towards this account. So you cannot delete accounts where there is a character in the type column. So the account numbers are 4 digits plus a 3-digit department, or those departments can just be 0. I would edit account numbers and descriptions first by double clicking and making your changes down here. I would delete accounts, and I would also add accounts. And accounts are easy to add because when you click the new button, Cobra knows that you're going to be adding a new account in the general ledger. So what I would do is look at the general area where you're going to be adding an account. Is it an asset account? Is it a liability account? For example, some people like to split out their liability accounts, so they might be adding more accounts in this area, things of that nature. Or are you adding more expense accounts? Look to the area of the screen where it has that division of accounts. Maybe I need to add a small tool expense account. So I look within this range of accounts, and I can see, oh, I can add one right in here between these two account numbers. So I might do that. And I want to make sure that the category here is the same as others in that same division of accounts. So to grab the category, you can do one of two things. You can open up this window and find the same category, or if you're more of a keyboard person, let me do this, you can type the first letter of that category. And if there's more than one category that's starting with the same letter, you can just type the letter again and just kind of quickly get through your categories that way rather than searching through that list. Now you can see that that account is added in the same grouping or category of accounts as similar accounts. If you have any questions on the types of accounts, do fax us at Cobra and let us know kind of what you're concerned about. But this is the basic process on setting up the chart of accounts. And this ends the lesson on setting up the chart of accounts.